And that's when we were putting the cardboard into the cardboard baler. And I said, Baylor, I hardly know her. Oh, hello there. Sorry, I didn't see you. Thank you for joining us once again for the 140th episode of the Drunk Doctor Who podcast.
Oh, no, 141.
Oh!
I didn't change it. The 141st.
Wherein we discuss the 141st
First story of Doctor Who. The Two Doctors.
Which is, you'll notice, 3 episodes instead of 2. Going from February 16th, 1985 to March 2nd, 1985.
Story number 141.
141.
The Two Doctors. You notice the other one?
The other one is the second Doctor. So the Two Doctors. Doctor 2, Second Doctor.
There you go.
There
you go. And of course, Colin Baker, the current Doctor.
That was my first question, is why did they go with Troughton as the second Doctor? Because he's the second Doctor. But why is he the second Doctor and the Two Doctors?
They probably snagged him because they didn't know how much longer he had. It's his last chance to be in the show, you know?
Oh, really? I would have thought that, they would bring Baker or Davison back because they're more recent. I was like, well, Jamie was a very popular companion. Maybe it was...
And they brought him back. And he didn't get to come back for the 5 Doctors. So bring him back and let him be in that. Yeah. Anyway, really fun serial. It's my favorite serial for the Colin Baker era because it has my second favorite Doctor in it. It's Troughton. Lots of fun. I'm Hatter. This is Holden.
Hello.
And what are you drinking today?
Today I'm trying the, Raspberry White Claw.
And I am drinking Paisano wine. Carlo Rossi Paisano.
Paisano.
Since we were doing 3 hours before we got to the podcast, I was like, let's go low octane for today and not do 80 proof whiskey or something. Yeah, like go with the low 24 proof wine. Anyway, good stuff too. I love it. And it gave me a chance to have Popeyes for dinner.
Hey.
Oh, they messed up my order.
Oh.
Ordered 3 pieces with red beans and rice, and I got 2 pieces with mashed potatoes.
That's not at all.
Yeah, no, it was not good. It was delicious, but it was not what I wanted, not what I ordered. It was not worth going back and complaining about. But Popeyes, you're the one on 82nd Street near University. You kind of messed up. If one of your employees happens to see this, I'll take a free dinner or something. I'm not going to complain about free Popeyes. All right. Okay, anyway, so the funniest part is you've got the 2 Doctors on the cover and the Sontaran, because the Sontarans are enemies. But they're not the main enemies. And the main enemies are... What's his name? Solari?
Dastari.
Dastari. Dastari and Chessini and Shakai are actually the main enemies. The Sontarans are kind of side enemies. And none of them actually on the front cover, although you do get to see Chessini here on the back cover. Anyway, we watched it on Blu-ray with the extended edition of the first episode as opposed to the DVD because... If you've got it, why not? But of course, DVD for purposes of you seeing the DVDs. Okay. Anyway, so you got it all? Yeah, Dastari and here comes
that includes Shakai and Chessini.
Okay, yeah.
And then Merrill and Stike are the Sontarans.
Yep.
And then also Dastarian. I'm not sure if we know what race he is.
The story, I believe, is human, but it's never explicitly stated. All right, today is 22nd of January, 2024. I think it's our second or third serial this year so far.
Yeah.
And this aired from February 16th, 1985 to March 2nd, 1985.
Can you believe we're already 4 weeks into the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Life's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
It won't slow down. I wish it would.
Alright. So it opens up in black and white. Mm-hmm. Well, after the color intro with Colin Baker smiling. Yeah. It opens up in black and white on Jamie and the second Doctor, Troughton, in the TARDIS. And then, as you're writing notes, if it phased into color.
Yeah,
so
that's the
you missed
Wizard of Oz transition.
But it was really neat because you start out, you're like, assuming, I mean, you'd never seen this before, and you only knew, I think, Troughton was in it because I told you. But could you picture watching the two Doctors? Who are the two Doctors? And then seeing Troughton on the screen in black and white and going, that's Troughton and Jamie. What the hell? Assuming
a weird flashback.
And then it transitions into color, and you're like, oh, okay.
But they're using the new TARDIS set control room, right? With the different levers and stuff.
Yeah, no, I didn't look at that.
I think it was. But the black and white, it makes you think, oh, this is some sort of like flashback, and then it transitions to color. You're like, oh no, this is happening now. Why do we have Troughton and Jamie?
Alright, so they dropped Victoria off. She wanted to study something sciencey. But this is obviously in the area with Victoria. But their excuse is, she wanted to study the sciencey things. We dropped her off, so she's not there, and it's Doctor and Jamie. So they decide they are being sent to. All right. This is apparently in a weird time where the Doctor has the favor of the Time Lords, the second Doctor, before he comes out of favor with the Time Lords, because of when they forced him to regenerate. Because they apparently give him a control of the TARDIS. It's a remote control, much like the Ronnie had in the previous serial.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The remote control technology. So we have Troughton forced to, before he was
forced to regenerate, when he was still in favor with the Time Lords.
Yeah, so he has he's been exiled from the Time Lords, and the price for his freedom is that sometimes he acts as a free agent for the Time Lords to intervene in different space-time events.
And they've always done that with the Doctor. Remember Tom Baker? During the season, it's like one continuous run. They interrupted him and snagged him off of the Sontaran experiment and put him on Skaro in Genesis of the Daleks. Yeah, they did that. And the guy who came down with the third Doctor, Mary Poppins-like, and told him, hey, the Master's here, you got to deal with him, and then left.
I liked where Pertwee. I like where Pertwee was just, the Time Lords were like, no, you don't get to travel. You stay put.
Obviously the Doctor fell well out of favor, the second Doctor, towards the end of the 6th season.
With the whole Deadly Assassin thing?
No, that was Tom Baker. We're talking more like the War Games and a few things before it. And so that they forced him to regenerate and exiled him.
Right, yeah. They must have taken his
the first the first Doctor, the Time Lords aren't even mentioned. They literally it doesn't come into play till later, I believe.
Just the different biology.
Yeah, just mentioning, hey, I'm an alien. Yeah.
I think he mentions. Does Hartnell mention Gallifrey?
No. Well,
maybe not by name.
Maybe, but another planet. But
very mysterious.
Even during the second Doctor, they don't notice he has 2 hearts. They examine him and only believe he has the one.
Right.
Because the 2-heart thing wasn't invented yet. Yeah. It wasn't put into the canon yet. Right. Yeah. So the Time Lords screwed and messed with Troughton a lot, and this is a bit of a recon to how much they screwed and messed with him, and how much he had favor with him at one point. But they didn't do the first Doctor because they weren't named. The planet wasn't named. I don't really, it just wasn't there until they started developing the backstory more in the second Doctor.
Hadn't Hartnell passed away at this point in time?
Oh yeah, by this? Oh yeah. He passed away just after the 3 Doctors, which is why they had a look-alike in the 5 Doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the 5 Doctors yet, have I?
Yeah.
3 Doctors.
The 20th anniversary special.
That was the
1983. The 5 Doctors.
5 Doctors. Oh, because Baker was in it, but
right. But they used the scenes from Shaba because at the time it was
And they
unpublished.
used the...
Right.
Yeah.
But you had the
You
look-alike
had-
for the first Doctor.
Pertwee.
You had Troughton in it. You had Pertwee in it. The fourth Doctor was in there through splicing the film, and then the fifth Doctor was the current one.
Who was it that they got to play Hartnell? I don't know.
Who they got to play the first Doctor?
Right. Who did they get as
That was
his
a different
lookalike?
guy. I don't remember his
Yeah,
name.
I don't think we see him again.
No, we do not see him
They
again.
changed the Hartnell lookalike for the Harry Potter janitor.
Well, much later.
Oh,
That's
much later.
That's done during the 50th anniversary special stuff, and during Capaldi. Whereas the 50th anniversary stuff, he plays the first Doctor in Adventures in Space and Time, the documentary about, or the docudrama about it. And then a few years later, he's playing Hartnell there. And then a few years later, he actually plays the first Doctor in Capaldi's last episode, Twice Upon a Time.
Dizzy.
Yeah, so they don't put somebody else in for the first Doctor for 30 something more years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the 5 Doctors, didn't they have it?
That was the first time they did it. And they didn't do it again until Twice Upon a Time, Capaldi's last episode,
Okay.
30 something years later.
Okay. Gotcha. I think I got it straight.
Okay.
At least for now.
So
They'll all get muddy.
So anyway, the Two Doctors is the first time that we have had a multi-Doctor story that is not an anniversary special. Because the Three Doctors was the 10th anniversary, the Five Doctors was the 20th anniversary, the 30th anniversary is the Children in Need special, which is, we discussed it, semi-canonish. And
multiple Doctors in it?
yes, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th Doctors all. So it has 5 Doctors in it. Let's see, and it's the last time we see Pertwee is for the 30th. The 40th, the show was completely on hiatus. No, nothing was done. The 50th, we have the 3 Doctors, the War Doctor, the 10th, and the 11th. And the 60th, oddly enough, we don't really have multiple Doctors. But the last episode, we don't really, although I haven't seen the episodes yet because they haven't been released on Blu-ray or DVD. I've watched reviews on them. Right. But the last episode of Chibnall's / Whitaker's run, The Power of the Doctor, is a multi-Doctor episode. So I'm going to kind of count that as part of the 60th for that. Because he actually celebrated the 60th anniversary with that one episode. I haven't seen him yet, but my understanding for the multi-Doctor stuff better than Davies did with the actual 60th anniversary episodes, because he brings back the 5th Doctor, the 6th Doctor, the 7th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor, all in that episode. And I think it was a better celebration, and it was in the same year as the 60th. Oh, no. Yes, it was. It was the New Year's episode. Barely in the same year as that, than the stuff that happened, but we'll see.
And speaking of specials, totally on topic, I'd like our viewers at home to go down to the comment section below and tell Hatter what a special, lovely shirt he's wearing today. It's so pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not the only one dressing up for the podcast.
It's made out of...
You look very nice today.
Oh, it's made out of bamboo.
Bamboo?
It's bamboo, yeah. So freaky.
Bamboo fiber.
I got it in Australia.
Australia? Yeah. Well, it's a nice shirt.
Thank you.
I want everyone else to tell Hatter what a nice shirt he's wearing today.
Anyway, usually I just wear whatever I throw on, but yesterday I wanted to look good for church, so... And then I just slept in the shirt and got out and I'm good.
It's the best part of the weekend.
Oh, yeah, tell me
You wake
about
up and you go, I'm good.
Yeah, I have a barber's weekend, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Why is that a barber's weekend?
Because barbershops are closed on Mondays.
What?
Because they're open on Saturdays so people can get to them on their day off. But then they take Monday off.
Huh. Never knew.
Yeah, if you go to a proper barbershop, they're closed on Mondays. You know, one that'll give you a shave.
Yeah.
Not these hair salons.
I go to a men's salon, Regimen.
Oh, no. I like what's the one,
It's nice because they...
when I had the long beard and I had half of it chopped off, I went to one called Men's Tune-Up or something. And it was really nice. They took care of your beard, and they had bottles of whiskey, and you could drink whiskey while you were getting your beard.
Exactly, like Regimen. Yeah, I think you'd
I'm
like it.
This is worth $40. Yeah,
everything's clad in leather, and there's alcohol. You can grab beer, read a men's magazine. And they trim you, and
they groom you, and I'm like, oh, I can deal with this.
Yeah,
all right. I wish you would have taken longer. So I wish you would have taken longer so I could have gotten a second deal of whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
No, it didn't work. She was fairly efficient.
She
was like, how much you want to take off? I'm like, all right. You know, it was down to here, and I'm like, bring it to here. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yes. Okay. Anyway, right now I'm just letting it grow, but when it warms up, I'll probably shave it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Clean shave?
I look better with a beard.
Normally for Valentine's Day, you do the clean shave, right?
Yeah.
Like your once a year baby face.
Yeah. And I do that for a couple of weeks for Valentine's Day, and then
next month. Yeah.
And then the.
Hopefully, it'll start warming up around then. It won't.
No, I may not do it this year. I may not do it, but I do. But I think around this length, about a little longer than you have, is probably the best length for me.
It's a good look.
Oh, thank you.
It's the right amount of body. It has enough length where you see your natural flow and your it looks good.
If you want to see a much longer beard, go back about 8 months of the episodes. 8-9 months, yeah.
That's what I like about the podcast. It's like a little time capsule.
Yeah.
You can go back and see me several years ago and gosh, I put on so much weight.
I don't keep a lot of family photos, but I guess this is my version of that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me when I was only 50. Ooh.
Yeah. We're gonna look back on it 10 years from now.
Anyway, so the doctor and Jamie head to this place that's a giant laboratory. It's a space station out in the middle of nowhere, and it is supposedly where they're doing science for the benefit of mankind, adding to the sum total knowledge of mankind.
So there are humans, or that would suggest that Dastari's a human.
Well,
maybe not.
No, I don't think so, because I'm using mankind in terms of in general, but not. But he's talking about the people in the third galaxy, or what was he calling the people in the third something, third quadrant, third something,
I think.
Something, and
so probably not humans.
Yeah, you get the indication they're not human. In fact, because Shaka had never seen a human, and so they're not human. Yeah. So anyway, hold on. So there go the doctor's being sent there by the Time Lords in order to this is the second doctor, to file a protest against some of the time
disturbances
that they're creating.
A glitch in the time field. It registered on their Baca scale.
Yeah, something like that.
3.0, which is like their time
0.4 or something.
Richter scale. So they sent Troughton. They said, "Hey, knock it off. You're causing ripples and disruptions."
And Troughton is like tells Jamie, just keep quiet. Now, let me do the talking and watch my amazing diplomatic skills. And it was great because Jamie said at the exact same moment, "Watch your great diplomatic skills."
When diplomacy breaks down.
But Troughton was the worst at the diplomacy. He got his gumption up from the very beginning, and he was just being a Hanyak the whole time. He was like,
we get the sense that he knew Dastari from the past. He had been there before.
Right.
And so he knew his character, and he kind of respected him as a smart man. And they have this big convention of like the 40 greatest minds in the third sector.
Yeah.
So he respects these people and go, oh, they're smart. And he goes up, he says, hey, I know you're smart, I'm smart, we respect each other, you gotta knock this off. And he goes, no. And then diplomacy bottoms out.
Immediately breaks down.
I don't understand why you're being so pig-headed. And they're just barking at each other. And Jimmy goes, yeah.
Actually, Dastari was kind of reasonable. So Dastari was actually being kind of reasonable. The doctor was actually, the one being fairly unreasonable. But in the meantime...
Dastari's more of a veiled reasonability.
Yes.
It's a front.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet.
In the meantime, the doctor originally showed up as TARDIS in the kitchen. And Shockeye, he's got these huge red eyebrows.
Yeah.
Even bigger than Capaldi's. And
so it's like some weird Scottish stereotype, right? Because
yes.
He has the red bushy eyebrows and the kilt and
something akin to it.
Yeah.
It's not actually a kilt, I don't think, but yeah.
And then they bring Jamie back with the kilt. And there's this weird undertone of like Scottish stereotypes. I don't really get it.
Okay, but Shockeye has these weird little, not exactly boils, but weird little things on his face.
Yeah.
The big red eyebrows, and apparently he's an androgum. Mm-hmm. And these androgums are a race that are really...
The proletariat, the workers,
Yeah, but they're very base. The only thing he thinks with is his stomach. Mm-hmm. Period.
The simple folk.
Yeah, he just thinks with his stomach. So Dastari took Chessini. She was an androgum, and he did like 9 different augmentation operations on her to change her brain and change her genetics in such a way that she would be, she could think better. She was elevated far above a regular androgum.
Yeah, and this is why I really like this serial, is kind of the subtlety and the storytelling was so good. There's some weird moments, some weird comedic effect stuff, but the plot, from A to B was just excellent. Mm-hmm. So we get Troughton shows up. He's talking to Dastari. He ran into Chessini, and Dastari's talking about Chessini, and he goes, he's talking about what a great thing he's done, turning this androgum into this super genius. Yeah. And this is where you get the diplomatic breakdown, where Troughton thought he knew who Dastari was, who was, a civilized, intelligent, scientific man, and then he starts to see the lack of his humanity. He goes, that's, he's criticizing him. He says, are you proud of her, or are you proud of yourself? And you have this,
both.
Yeah, you have this this dilemma where Dastini is proud of Chessini. Dastari's proud of Chessini, but he's also proud of himself as he's made her. So you know how like an artist is proud of his art, while a father is proud of his child. We kind of get those two things mixed together. He's created what...
He's gone Frankenstein.
Yeah,
He's really gone Frankenstein. And much more so than the brain of Morbius, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, so he's messed with genetic makeup. And the doctor's like, no, she's still going to be an androgum. You can't do that, because her down underneath, she's still going to be horrible. She'll have no...
Troughton seems a little racist here. It's like, androgums, they can't advance. They'll never be anything but brutal.
You can't... Okay. Racist in the Earth sense indicates skin color or whatever. But we're talking about when you're going to an alien thing, I mean, you could call it speciest or something.
There's the Xeno. What is it?
Xeno means alien.
Yeah, not xenophobia, but it's like a. Yeah, kind of like species, but there's a Xeno word for racism, but with.
But I mean, when you're talking, I mean, it's like, are polar bears bad? Yeah, they're the only animal that will hunt down and kill humans specifically. You know, doesn't mean all polar bears are bad, but in general, shoot them, okay? If you see one, run, and better yet, kill it. It's that kind of thing. But apparently the Androgum are fairly base, and they have zero compunctions whatsoever killing people. As Shockeye is trying to buy Jamie off the doctor to cook him and eat him.
Apparently they're cannibals.
Well,
eating their own is very normal.
That's indicated later, although trying to kill Jamie it wouldn't be cannibalism.
He's not a human, but they think with their stomachs, they eat stuff raw, but they're intelligent and strong, but simple. Yeah.
But so the doctor's freaking out because Chessini has been enhanced so much. And anyway, so come to find out that Chessini is trying to serve the doctor Jamie. And the doctor's like, no, thank you. We've already eaten. And Jamie's like, that was yesterday. He's like, one meal a day is enough. I think the doctor suspected something because of the androgen. But turns out Chessini is the brains behind everything, the super genius.
Yeah.
So she had a plan, and come to find out that the Androgum Shockeye, who was the cook for this space station, cooked the meal with a lot of poison in it. And everyone was poisoned.
Poisoned the whole space station.
Yeah. I think that Dastari was faking it.
Yeah,
or he had a little bit.
Him like not poison, but like a sedative.
Yeah, so it looked like him and the others, but yeah. But anyway, so apparently everyone on the space station is slaughtered. All the scientists are killed with the poisoned food, all 40 of them or whatever, you know. Family show.
Yeah. Once they're poisoned, the Sontarans come in just to mop up all the lingering.
Yeah. In fact, there's a guy looking at a screen. The Sontaran ships are coming, and Chessini, jabs him in the neck with a thing, and he dies. So, yeah, everyone who ate died from the poison, except Astari, who was just sedated as part of the plan. Everyone else who didn't was slaughtered. Androgum and I think whatever race Dastari was, alike by the Sontarans, except Jamie. The doctor sees the Sontarans, and the doctor sees the Sontarans and tells Jamie to run. Even though Troughton, to the best of our knowledge, had never seen Sontarans. The first Sontaran story was during Pertwee.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Well, he knew of the Sontarans.
He knew of them. Yeah. But we never see him seeing the Sontarans until this serial.
Huh.
It was Pertwee who encountered the first Sontaran in his last season with Sarah Jane Smith.
There are no Sontarans in the 3 Doctors. There are no Sontarans in the 5 Doctors?
No, the Sontarans first show up in Pertwee's 5th season, which was the Time Warrior. The Sontaran that got stuck in the past, and he's pulling scientists from the future. This was the first serial of season 11, Pertwee's last season, and the first one was Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah. So I guess Troughton's we've never seen a serial with Troughton and the Sontarans.
Not until now.
Not till now.
So it's interesting he knows of them, even though he had not encountered them before. I guess he knew of them, the TARDIS databanks or whatever.
Yeah.
So
he knew of them and the Routons.
Oh yeah, Routons.
Croutons.
So the doctor tells Jamie to run. The doctor's captured. He gets the rest of the week off. Jamie runs away, manages to escape, sees the doctor being killed, or so he thinks. And then Shock Eye finds him again, and Shock Eye is trying to corner him, to kill him, to eat him, when Jamie manages to get away, because he cuts him with his knife.
Yeah, and then Shock Eye is distracted by Chessini walking up.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the whole dialogue of Chessini used to be Andragon, and then...
Well, it's stated also earlier by Dastari.
Yeah. This is the moral conflict of she has this duty of her bloodline and tradition versus her new aspirations as this genetically engineered super genius.
Yeah, and
that's the conflict.
He's Shock Eye of the Quisini Trig or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grig. And she's Chessini of the some other Grig.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently these people are really big on bloodlines and clans and whatever, because it's basically what it is. Which would explain why he was wearing something close to a kill. So, in the meantime, cut to the sixth Doctor. Mm-hmm. He's fishing. Perry's in her little bikini, and they never show a close up till she puts her top on. Anyway, so he's trying to catch a gumble fish or whatever, gumblejack. Mm-hmm. They get tired of fishing. They go back in the TARDIS. He says, "We'll go fishing here," and then he has an episode where he falls, he faints. And that is when there was the deal where he was possibly being killed, the second Doctor.
Mm-hmm. So it's the scene where the Death Star blows up, Dantooine, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's like,
I felt a great disturbance. Kind of, actually, yeah, the telepathy.
Yeah, the mind link. We also see an interesting attitude from Perry we haven't really seen, where she comes across more like who's our whiny companion? The whiny companion.
Oh,
Tegan.
Tegan.
She comes across a lot more like Tegan as you know, right from the get-go, she's just over it. The Doctor's spent hours and hours fishing. And she's just not in the mood for adventure. She's been, you know, she had a rough adventure last time. Her life was put in danger. There's more adventures going on where she feels her life's going to be put in danger again. And she's just like,
she's starting to get to the end of her tether. She doesn't last too much longer. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, it's just like Tegan, where it's like, nope,
I've been through this.
Had enough.
Yeah.
Although Perry goes away because they do the classic thing, not unlike Tegan, where she goes away, gets married off.
Perry does.
Perry, yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike Tegan.
Tegan gets
but like Susan, like not Barbara, though we find out later Barbara did get married to Ian.
Victoria gets married to, or doesn't get married. But
no, she sticks behind.
With that.
Oh my gosh. The one that stays behind.
The Fang Rock. No, not Fang Rock. Though.
Okay, Leela.
Yeah.
Leela gets married. The one that stays behind in the Mythmakers.
Oh, Mythmakers.
Yeah, Mythmakers. Vicky,
I forgot.
The rescue, and they pick up Vicky, the replacement for Susan, the original one, and then they leave her behind in Athens for the Mythmakers.
Some companions are just forgettable. I'm sorry.
Well, we've been doing this for a while. There's a lot of characters. You haven't seen this stuff as much as I have.
You keep it all straight. Wibbly wobbly,
timey-wimey stuff. Yeah. All right. So
let me explain to you the Doctor Who timeline. It goes like this.
Well, someday we'll actually get to the episode Blink where he says wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Where the catchphrase is from?
Yes, it is literally from
Blink is the one with the angels.
Yes. Okay. So if you want to show somebody classic Doctor Who and see if they like it, show them City of Death. If they like that, they'll love classic Doctor Who because it is perfect embodiment of one of the best best stories for classic Doctor Who. And if you want to show them the modern Doctor Who, Blink is a great place to start.
So we've talked about this litmus test of whether or not someone will like old or new Doctor Who and those two choice picked episodes to determine whether or not they would like old or new Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. We never did that as the when we were starting the podcast.
No.
Yeah. So what if I didn't like Doctor Who? Is just gonna roll the dice on that one. You didn't want to.
I never expected vetting. You would not like Doctor Who.
Yeah. The only vetting you did was checking my ID, but other than that, you're like, oh, I don't like it. He's a nerd.
I just went, hey, I know you. You're a good guy. Hey,
do you like drinking?
Like, yes. Yeah. Are you at least 21? Yeah, I'm 22. Okay, let me see your ID. Yeah, you're 22. Okay. Have you ever watched an episode of Doctor Who? No.
Not one.
You're perfect!
Doesn't matter if yeah. It worked out. I'm glad it did. I do like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
By the way. I don't know if I've ever come out and said that. I'll say it now. I'm coming out of the closet. I like Doctor Who.
You're a Whovian.
I'm a Whovian. I'm out of the TARDIS closet. I'm a Whovian. At least an old Whovian. I haven't seen the new stuff.
Oh, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. You should like the new stuff at least up until Whittaker. We'll see.
Is it Chibnall or
Chibnall's a showrunner? Okay, Moffat was some of Moffat's stuff is insane, and some of it's good. It's a mixed bag, but he kind of goes up his own butt sometimes. It's like, I'm just gonna write myself into a corner and go up my own butt to write myself out of it. And it's like, really? Did you have to make it that complicated?
I feel like that's a trope that we get in Doctor Who a lot, but this serial in particular, I thought the plot was so good that it kind of left you feeling like, oh, the Doctor is planning something. It's not just, oh, this happened and then they wrote this plot point to get out of it. It's like, oh, I can see he's scheming something, and when he gives up the thing, it's like, oh, I know he must have something planned out. Yeah. So they do a better job.
Was it the bromine diode or whatever?
Yeah. But like, oh, he wouldn't just hand that over without having a plan. Like, yeah.
But
it's paced really well too.
Yeah. This is my favorite serial of the Sixth Doctor, just flat out. If it does not win for the Sixth Doctor series, I would be very surprised. We can call it now. Yeah. Most of the next season is not as good as this one, because a lot of it is interrupted with this trial of a Time Lord stuff and the Valeyard. But it's not all bad. Like with the main group, we're watching the one with Brian Blessed, and he's awesome. Love that guy.
Yeah.
You know who he is, right?
No.
Have you ever seen Flash Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he Flash Gordon?
No.
Who is he?
Gordon's alive. He's that wingman with what looks like should be an opera singer. He's big and he's got the beard and he's got the voice.
The beard, yeah.
Yeah, and the voice. Gordon's alive. Yeah, that guy.
I do remember that scene.
He's in Doctor Who.
Oh.
Yeah. So Perry gets married to him. That's who she marries.
In the show.
Yeah. Unlike real life where the Fourth Doctor married Romana too. But Perry marries him in the show, and we do not see her again for a long while.
Good for him.
All right, good for him. Perry's beautiful, and good for her. I mean, that's a man's man. That is a man's man right there. Oh man, the kind of guy you want to be your leader, because he's going to run into battle.
Natural.
Just raw, testosterone and fighting, which he is who he always plays, and who he plays in the Doctor Who serial as well.
The same.
He's kind of typecast as that guy. Yeah.
So we're.
Oh my gosh.
Where are we?
All right. So in the meantime, the Fourth Doctor, the Sixth Doctor faints,
That's right.
And Perry goes, "You okay?" And he's like, "Yeah. No, not really, but..."
I felt a great many voices.
Yeah. Anyway, he is terse with her the entire serial. And there's one moment in the second episode where she mouths asshole at him.
Yeah.
You saw it around it and showed it to Alyssa.
I saw her mouth something that rhymes with asshole.
But it's rare to see a companion curse at the doctor.
Non-audibly on camera.
Well, yeah, but
they kind of just got past whatever ratings.
Right, he's just berating her the whole stinking serial, and she's just like tired of it. And he does it one time too many, very condescendingly.
And this is that
patronizingly, and
serial
she just mouths at
where Perry takes on the Tegan attitude of she's just done with the doctor, which she's a saint to have put up with Colin Baker for up until this point. Yes, considering how he's been.
Colin Baker's Sixth Doctor
brutal.
Is just annoying as all hell in many ways, but that's the way they wrote him, that's the way they directed him. It's not Colin Baker's fault, but the show wanted to take a different direction with it. It just
he's kind of growing on me though.
Yeah, he gets better as he goes along.
He's like that coworker, and you start a new job, and you meet this coworker, and you just you can't stand him.
But he gets better.
And then at some point you just recognize that I'm not quitting, he's not quitting, we're going to be working together. I might as well try to have, a friendship with this person. And then once you get past that hump, you're like, okay, I can kind of see some aspects to the personality.
I can cope with him.
Yeah, it's a little bit of growing on it.
Oh my gosh.
But for the most part, boy, is he...
Oof, he's a little rough. Anyway, and that's one of the things that I think that one of the reasons they did that was they were trying to kill off the show. They were trying to make him somewhat unlikable.
That's what's frustrating is that so many of these decisions feel like self-sabotage. It's just they're trying to
now
push the show off.
The showrunner was not. The showrunner loved the show. And in fact, they told him if you leave the show's ending. So he stayed on years beyond what he really wanted to because he didn't want the show to end. He loved it. But the directors and I guess the writers were told to make him unlikable. They'd make him darker, hence strangling Perry in his first serial, The Twin Dilemma. We'll include The Twin Dilemma in with this season when we do that like we did with the first Doctor's extra stuff in the fourth season with the third.
That's when the Doctor first showed up,
because this was one of those rare mid-season switches,
They won't win the...
No.
We already know what our favorite...
No, Twin Dilemma was a bit rough. Although I do like Mark of the Ronnie a good bit. And but this is my absolute favorite for this Doctor. Alright, and I believe yours too so far.
Definitely, by far, so far.
So it helped with the benefit of the second Doctor. It helped with the benefit of a lot of good writing.
And Troughton helps everything. Oh,
he's awesome.
Troughton's still my favorite Doctor.
Oh, agreed.
So every time Troughton shows up, the 2 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, the 3 Doctors, is just...
Yeah. He even makes the Antichrist being born more palatable.
I don't know.
The Omen?
I don't know.
Have you not seen the movie The Omen?
No. Is Troughton in that?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't.
He's a priest.
I don't watch a lot of horror movies, scary.
Oh, that's a good one. But
it's like a thriller.
Add that to the list. I don't think I've said that in a while.
Add it to the list. This is our first movie list we've had in a while.
Yeah, first addition to it. Yeah, and we haven't taken any movies off of it lately because
we have not been.
We haven't been doing the heroes and villains.
Yeah.
Here's your pin.
I gotta find the movie list.
All right. So the Sixth Doctor feels faint. Perry helps him, and she's like, you know what? You got to go see a doctor. And he's like, no, that was a joke. And then finally goes, wait a minute, that's not a bad idea. He says, well, the main doctor I know, one I would know would be Dr. Dastari. And so they head out, wonderfully coincidentally, yay plot devices, to go to the same space station to go see Dastari at around the same time that all the other stuff happened. So they show up, and their TARDIS lands in the exact same spot where well, I wouldn't say the other TARDIS, it's the same TARDIS, but where the second Doctor's TARDIS landed. I guess it had a little bit of memory.
It's just kind of
landing in the same spot. We see something similar in the 50th anniversary special when the three TARDISes are side by side.
Oh.
Yeah. For 10, 11, and the War Doctor. Yeah. So the TARDIS lands, and they come out and they look, and all the food that was fresh in the first one, when the second Doctor landed, is now decayed.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been a month, maybe 2 months, based on just everything.
What do you think Jamie's been eating that whole time?
I think he was surviving on the food before it decayed.
What's with the wires in his neck? Do they ever explain that?
The wires in Jamie's neck?
Yeah, he's pulling the wires out.
Oh,
the 2 wires.
That comes later, but hold on.
Oh, they do explain it? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, but that's in episode 2. We're still on episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
We're singing the praises of this so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Doctor and Perry are wandering around, and they get threatened by a computer.
You hear something? I'm just creaking and cracking.
And you sound like an old man.
Yeah, I am.
You're 27.
So an old. Yeah, I'm gonna be 30 next year.
Oh, you're 29.
I'm 28.
28.
29 this year.
30 next year.
30 next year.
Woo! Hey. Alright, so Doctor and Perry are threatened by the computer. That looks like it's been about 2 months. And the computer says, leave, get back in your ship and leave, or I will enact defensive measures. And as a tribute to the second Doctor hating computers, which we saw a lot back in the War Machine, stuff back during the second Doctor's era, with Wotan. The sixth Doctor here does a great homage to that, and he hates this computer. He's not going to be told what to do by a computer. And it's obvious because the second Doctor's in the serial, so we're going to write like that. So he fights the computer. He and Perry end up in a hallway that all the oxygen is leaving. The Doctor manages to find a manual opening to a door, which is really good. He pumps it. He has a Time Lords have a better physical capacity than humans, so Perry passes out. The Doctor's getting the door open. He brings her in, revives her. They're in Dastari's office. The Doctor's trying to figure out what's going on. There is an extended scene of dialogue where the Doctor gives backstory on Dastari, on the work they did there. He finds the work in the computer of what was going on, and several other things. In the meantime, she's asking him questions and stuff, and it goes back and forth for a while. These episodes are very well paced. There is some padding, but it doesn't feel like padding. It doesn't feel like padding in most episodes. It would, because it's 3 hours long, or 3 45-minute episodes, so nearly 2 hours 30 minutes or whatever, 2:20 with the extended version, something like that. So the Doctor's sides, they were trying to be frozen outside. Now they're trying to be cooked because the computer figures out they're in the room and starts heating up the room. The Doctor says we have to go down into the bowels of the space station and we have to turn off the computer. So they go out. The doctor figures out a way out again. He uses a bit of an art piece to short circuit the door, the lock. And, he says, I may not know art, but I know what I like. They go out. They end up going into the bowels of the space station. And here's the only place in this entire serial that really does feel like padding, but they are wandering around in this scaffolding-like bit in the bowels, behind the scenes of the space station, kind of like the secret areas inside the White House or the underpinnings in a stadium, stuff like that. And they're going around there talking and looking and looking and looking for the controller to turn off the computer. For a bit longer than is necessary. But, they have to get the run time. Anyway, so they eventually get to the deal to shut off the computer. In the meantime, Perry had heard something. And you hear some growling. And finally the doctor hears it and agrees with Perry. There's something down there. And he says, it's probably just an animal that got out of the labs from the work they were doing here. And Perry's like, maybe a squirrel? He's like, So the doctor gets to the console where he can turn off the computer. And there's different deals that are coded differently, different colors, yellow, blue, red. But he mentions booby traps. These things are usually booby traps so people can't sabotage the station. He mentions one that takes off your head. So Perry's like, yeah, I'm going over here. I don't have my head taken off with yours when that happens. And while she does that, she goes down a ladder. They've been going down a lot of ladders, a lot of scaffolding. It's been going on for a while. She goes down a ladder, and then there's kind of like a nest, somewhere like someone would set up what's it called? A bed, just, where you kind of camp out on the floor. I forget what it's called at the moment. But it looks like that. And then the doctor... Yep, come on in.
Housekeeping.
The doctor finally finishes messing with the controls as he does and moving things around. And at that point, Perry's attacked.
Yes.
Perry's attacked by, and I mean, like,
literally.
It looks kind of like a guy in a Jawa outfit.
Mm-hmm. The tan poncho.
Right, the tan poncho. But he's bigger than she is, at least by a little bit. And he's on top of her, and they're struggling. And she calls out, and at the exact same time, the doctor finishes the thing and gets hit with gas.
And
he passes out.
Important distinction is at the exact same time, because the doctor says that her crying out distracted him, and that's why he set off the gas. But I don't think that's true. I'm not.
He's a bit of a braggart, this doctor. But he gets knocked out, falls forward, manages to kind of hook his arms on some cords. Although this amount of body mass should have flipped his arms up, but reflexed, I guess.
Time Lords have.
Yeah, Time Lords have all
heavy
sorts of
arms.
stuff. Yeah. So
they also breathe through. So
okay, so, the whole respiratory thing is mentioned in this.
Yeah.
In the episode, but anyway, end of episode 1. The doctor's unconscious and she's fighting off this attacker. So episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah. She finally fights off the attacker.
She's fighting him off, but he just kind of passes out. She doesn't really do anything, so you don't know if he attacked her, if he just kind of collapsed and fainted on her, but at any point he's unconscious and she's able to just roll him off.
I think it was implied that she kind of knocked him into something or something, but it's a TV fight, it's not too
hard to follow.
explicit, yeah.
But once the assailant is unconscious on the floor, Perry goes to seek the doctor and finds
she's like, "Thank you so much."
Unconscious,
on the wires.
On the wires.
She gets him down. She wakes him up. And that's when he makes that comment about the gas and if she hadn't cried out. And she's like, "Yeah, whatever." They go back to the assailant, and the doctor's like,
"Surprise, surprise!
Wait a minute, that's Jamie McCrimmon."
Yeah,
and
And he has wires sticking out of his neck.
No, not yet. Not yet. I think you were writing stuff down. Looked up. So, the doctor wakes up Jamie, and Jamie's like, no, and he's freaking out because he's probably been alone on the space station for a month or two, surviving on whatever was in the larder.
Yeah, he's in
whatever they had.
Survival mode in shock.
Yeah, big time survival mode in shock. And he saw the doctor killed in his mind. So the doctor is trying to calm him down. He takes out of his jacket a deal, and Perry opens it up, and it's a Chinese cloth acupuncture bag.
Is that where the wires came from?
Yeah, acupuncture.
So he put the wires into his neck.
Yes, and
then
you were probably
back
writing
out.
stuff down.
Oh.
So she opens up the bag. The doctor points at the wire. She gives it to him. He does acupuncture like right here.
Oh.
Right here. And then
totally
she gives him another one, and he does another acupuncture right here. And that calms Jamie down.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like...
Something to do with the adrenal gland, yada yada.
So, and the doctor's like, well, he's going to be out for a little bit. But that's Jamie. What is Jamie doing here? I must have been here. Jamie should be with me. Well, the then me. And throughout this entire serial, of course, like the other multi-doctor episodes, he's talking in pronouns that make it difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes for the companions to follow.
Very
We understand what's
subtly.
going on, but yeah.
You have your classic doctor confronting himself, sass off.
Yeah, if he ever does this, I'll never forgive himself. When it should be myself, but yeah, you understand.
Wordplay.
Alright, so he hypnotizes Jamie. Jamie gives up that he saw the doctor dying. The doctor's like, okay, well, let's let him sleep. The doctor and Perry leave. They find the main... Now they disconnect the computer. They find the computer. Computer can't talk. It says, don't speak. Don't speak. There's like, oh, I must have shut off one of its controls. So he's looking at stuff. And he says, well, databanks are still good. He's scrolling through things. In the meantime, Perry, who's bored, and...
Tabs over to a cat video. It's the pop-out window on the second monitor.
No. I don't think there were cat videos in 1985.
Oh, yeah.
Not like today.
Not like today.
She goes back to look after Jamie. The doctor finally is messing with the computer, triggers a thing where he sees Perry being tortured to death in a capsule.
Yep.
And then he's pushing buttons to try and stop it, and then he sees Dastari being tortured in a capsule, Jamie being tortured in the capsule, Troughton being tortured in the capsule, and he realizes that it's the computer projection. And he's
It's
like,
all a ruse.
and he's thinking, well, wait, why is Perry in there? Come to find out that Perry, got in front of the mirror glass and looked at herself and was like, yeah, I look horrible, and it captured her image and put her in there.
So you have the space station computer, HAL 9000, right? Activating defense mechanisms, but also part of its programming was this fail-safe, not fail-safe, but this deceptive holographic thing that they said.
Yeah.
And at some point it scanned Perry, just like it scanned Dastari and Troughton and every other person it projected being
But
tortured.
the whole point was to make people think they had been killed. I told you why it was HAL, right?
HAL 9000?
Why the initials were HAL.
Oh no, what does HAL stand for?
It doesn't. It's one letter in front of each of IBM.
Oh, so it's
I to H, B
Perry.
to A, M to L.
Oh.
HAL.
That's funny.
It is. That's where they got that.
HAL.
I mean, so
Business machines. You ever watch
International
War
Business
Dogs?
Machines. War Dogs?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's about these during the Iraq War, these military contractors, and he names his company AEY. You have seen that scene?
No. I've seen the trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie.
He's like, why is it called AEY? He's like, it doesn't mean anything. It just sounds cool. It's like IBM. IBM doesn't stand for anything. It's like, it stands for international. He goes, you're fired. Get out. Get out of here. Great movie. Add it to the list.
I know. I've seen the trailer. I haven't seen the movie. But about two guys who just went off and decided they put up this front and then tried to live up to it.
True story.
Yeah. Or based on a true story.
Based on a true story. Obviously, it's Hollywoodized, but what is not Hollywoodized is the fact that they just got a little slap on the wrist for all that. You know.
So, Perry shows up with Jamie, and the doctor says, well, look at this. And he shows the different people, pushing the button, showing the different people being killed or killed. And Jamie's like, yeah, that's what I saw. And the doctor goes, well, I believe, I'm suspecting what's going on. This was a setup to make it look like I had died, which is hilarious because then why in the world did he get that deal where he fainted if he wasn't actually dying?
Yeah, like they knocked out Troughton.
Yeah,
they put him under, and apparently that caused it. But what I think is, here's my explanation: is Time Lords have this cross-time other regeneration safety mechanism where the doctor kind of sends out an SOS through his mind link to his other regenerations when he feels like he's about to meet an untimely demise.
That never shows up again at all.
But what I think happened was Troughton thought he was going to die. He didn't know that he was just going to be, put under for the operating table. So he thought he was going to die, hence why Colin Baker's doctor got that, weird mind link of...
With the possible exception of 4 to 5, where you got the Watcher, there's no link at all like that.
Well, I mean, how do you explain this...
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. It's what was necessary to make it look like the doctor had possibly died.
Okay.
Okay, so then we see something that we really haven't seen before.
I have another theory, if you want to talk about it. It has to do with the respiratory.
Alright, so then...
We've talked about it before.
So then, the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, decides he wants to... TARDIS. Decides that he wants to try and figure out where they took the 2nd Doctor, because he figures the 2nd Doctor's still alive if they put up this illusion of him dying. And at one point he thought the universe was collapsing and it would only take a few centuries, but turns out it's not. He's not in an embolism in time outside of it.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, I'm going to try to contact myself telepathically over time and space. So he tells the companions, Jamie and Perry, not to touch him. He's going to lie down for what could be minutes, days, or minutes, hours, or days.
Interrupt me. Don't talk to me. Don't even come near me, because if you interrupt my mind link, it could kill me.
Yeah.
So obviously, the first thing they do is they huddle right next to him. Doctor, are you all right?
No, not quite, but
pretty much.
Pretty good. He lays down.
They're like, it's been a few minutes. And then he goes, Jamie. And they go, Doctor!
Not exactly.
He's like, this could kill me if you do it. And they're like, let's do that. Are you all right?
Okay. So Jamie looks at Perry and says, I think my doctor's better than your doctor.
And everyone at home watching this was like,
yeah.
Say that again.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
It's true. So,
You think that's like whoever wrote that line was just doing like some real
let's just have fun with this.
yeah.
Yeah, backhanded kind of one.
He's like, your doctor sucks.
So So in the meantime, the Centauran ship carrying Dastari. What are the Centaurans' names?
So we have Veril, which is you described as the first skinny Centauran. we've
Yeah,
seen.
Veril's a major, and he shows up with
Stike, who's the group commander, is what they called him.
Yeah. So Veril is the shorter but still skinny Centauran. First time we've seen really skinny Centaurans. Shows up with
Still with the
Chessine and Shonkai, and they go in and they capture this villa outside of Seville, Spain. Killed a little old lady who was living in it.
Didn't put up much of a fight.
Yeah, she's a little she's a little blind lady.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's so sad.
yeah, it's so sad. Little old blind lady gets killed. Shockers like she was just gristle and bone.
Spanish, decrepit old woman, and she's like, oh, hello.
No.
¿Dónde está?
No, donde es aquí, or who is this, or whatever in Spanish.
And he goes, oh,
Who's there?
It's so unbelievably dark because Shaka is just talking about eating her. He's like, oh, she's all brittle and dry, and she goes, oh, are you English? He just kills her.
And he kills her. So how many deaths do we have in this story?
12.
And that's not including the slaughter off screen.
Yeah, everyone on the space
Yeah,
station.
okay.
So, just the on-screen.
So yeah, the little lady's killed. Anyway, they take over this villa. They decide to go to Earth because Shockai was so questing after eating a human after seeing Jamie.
Yeah.
They decide, all right, Earth, we'll go to Earth, we'll stay out there, and Shockai, you can cook a human and we'll eat it.
And this gives us the first confirmation of the sort of underlying plot line that they set up before, which was Jacini, no matter how much Dastari experimented on her and tried to change her from her nature and make her...
She's still an androgen.
Yeah, at nature, she's still an androgen because she shares this compassion with Shockai and goes, I understand that craving and yeah, I'll help you satiate those needs. And
yeah. So yeah,
that's why
dark, but it's
so dark.
Yeah. But the rest of the serial pretty much takes place in Spain, filmed out in Seville, and I've been to those places, and just outside of Seville. At this villa, and it's a really gorgeous 3-story villa with a little tower for watching and stuff, and it's really nice. And they kill a little lady in it.
Wouldn't you love to have a tower? Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh,
just in your backyard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like in Secondhand Lions.
You just look out over your neighborhood and
yeah.
You're like, oh, that guy's getting raided by the...
It's like, no.
Just keep tabs on your neighborhood. And
just to watch. I mean, not watch people, but just to see the sights,
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That would be cool.
So...
like the permits and everything.
Yeah. Alright, so, in the meantime, they had set up house, killed the little lady, and the one Centauran, what was his name? Vilmo or whatever? Veril. Sets up a beacon for the Centauran ship. The Centauran ship comes in, and there's this two characters, side characters that we meet.
Oscar and Anita.
Yeah, Oscar and Anita. Oscar, what was his last name?
I didn't write that down.
Like Brisbane or something. It was something amazingly English. Yeah. Brockenhurst or something. Anyway, so this guy is incredibly pusillanimous and very, very cowardly. Well, pusillanimous, yeah. English, and he's like pusillanimous is kind of like a scaredy cat. It's where the derogatory term pussy actually comes from.
Oh.
Pusillanimous.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's where that.
I just thought it came from like a pussycat.
Right, but no, it comes from the word pusillanimous, which means to be afraid.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah. I know one single song with that word in it.
Pusillanimous?
Yes, it's by the Ruddles.
So, in YouTube, these people that make lots of money being career YouTubers, they have what they call the algorithm,
Okay.
and it monitors things like their channel statistics, their screen time, their viewer engagement, whether they're bringing viewers into the website. If
I
they're
think we
keeping
can
them
see
on
all
the
that, but
website.
ours
Yeah.
never change.
but here's the thing: is when you say these big words, people aren't gonna know what those are, so they tab over to look up the word,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's taken away from our screen time, so it hurts our algorithmic statistics when you have people.
Alright, so the 12 people who will eventually watch this video, we were going to lose 2 of them to another screen. And once again, we're not doing this to get rich or famous. We're doing this to drink alcohol and watch Doctor Who on a regular basis.
I'm just kidding.
Alright, so,
Much like you said, that only matters if you have hundreds of thousands.
which we don't. Although, once again,
Not
the first
yet.
episode is
yet.
good. I think people just watching it to see you throw up. But you went to the light alcohol and you haven't thrown up in a long time.
I like to think I did a lot of maturing.
Yes. Between
I really-
22 and 30.
I really found my limits there, and now
There you go.
better pace myself.
After that 50th episode. Oh my gosh, we were so wasted.
No kidding.
5 hours of watching and then
Dude,
45
fall
minutes. of-
asleep on the.
Yeah, you were out there. I'm like, da. All right.
Here's the Ashton Kutcher.
Okay. So there's this really this actor who we find out got banned by Britain for some reason, but we never find out why. He loves moths and he collects moths, and he's with what seems to be his girlfriend. What's her name? Anna or whatever. Anita. And she's like, well, no, this is the place where the moths were. And he's like, great. And he's like, I've got my net, I've got my bag, I've got the
My
light,
cyanide.
and I've got my cyanide because it's
More humane.
more
for the
humane than
butterflies than the ammonia gas.
yeah.
or something.
So they're there, and he's waxing loquacious about. There's another word they went and looked up. Waxing
We're
loquacious.
losing all our viewers.
Both of them. He's waxing
Exactly.
loquacious about stuff because he's an actor and he's quoting Shaw, Bernard Shaw, and he's quoting all this other. Anyway, so the spaceship, which looks like a giant.
Just a sphere looking.
Well, it's a sphere, but it's got the lines of a
like a soccer ball, right?
no. Hold on.
Hexagon.
A bocce ball. It's got the lines of a bocce ball.
What's a bocce ball? Is that the kind with the hooks that you grab like that?
No, it's lacrosse. No, bocce ball, it's an old man sport. It was invented in Italy, I believe. And you throw one little ball down, and then you throw other balls, trying to get as close as you can to the little ball. Kind of like...
Like the... It's like the board game Sorry, but what is it where it's like air hockey?
Well, yeah,
And you
it's
do
kind of
the
like that. Yeah, we just kind of slide this stuff down. There are several games like that. Like
They have the full-size one.
curling.
Curling.
There's
yeah.
curling.
Then they have the table tennis curling, which is the
Yeah,
air
yeah.
hockey thing.
But this is a
And they have the
long
board
version.
game.
This is a long version.
Sorry. And then you have the lawn version.
But no, this is the original though.
Oh.
Well, I take it back. I have no clue how old curling is. But anyway,
I'd imagine the lawn version would come before the ice and the brooms.
don't know. The world is weird. All right. So anyway, they see the Sontaran ship come down, and
Mad.
They think it might be an airplane crash.
Mad. Mad. Mad World.
Yeah.
4. I gotta write that down.
Exactly, you did. I was like, yeah. So they think it might be an airplane crash. They go to look for a wreckage or survivors or whatever. He's being very, oh no, I can't see guts and entrails except on stage, of course, because he's an actor. And they go and they look, and eventually, at this point, the doctor does his whole astral projection thing. He's trying to connect to his former self through time and space. And their galaxy's over, although, and who knows what the time differential seems to be a couple of months, but there's time differential, there's galaxy's over, and within minutes he manages to connect to his old self that is specifically in trouble in a specific place, and we never see this ability again. It's just, it's fairly ridiculous.
Well, it's kind of in the same school as the mind mending that they've done in the past.
They've done some things like that, the mind melding and
with them in physical contact, but this is more like a
astral projection. Yeah. And there are times when the 10th Doctor does some things, and let me impart this information to you, or let me wipe out your memory and stuff like that.
And we've seen some weird astral projection-y things in the past, like with the Doctor's mentor, and he had his
Planet
avatar.
Of the Spiders, yes.
And then later we have the Doctor himself, who had his avatar that comes in as the...
Yeah, there's the Watcher. Yeah, there's some weird stuff like that. But yeah, this is something that... so the 6th Doctor connects with the 2nd Doctor, and he hears very specifically the bells of Seville. The Santa Maria, the biggest bell in the cathedral in Seville. And he recognizes the note, and he recognizes it, and so they head to Seville at more or less that time frame, and I said it looked like a month or two, and Jamie's condition made it look like a month or two, but the doctor states it was more like 10 or 12 days, actually.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, it would have taken them 10 or 12 days to get there, so they're barely there.
Oh yeah, they're just showing up.
Yeah, they're just showing up. So
that
I thought
it went rancid.
Right, I was thinking it was longer.
I guess it wasn't refrigerated or anything. So.
Yeah, but Jamie's conditions seemed like it would have been longer.
It might have just been like the adrenaline coursing through his system as he's been, the stuck in the rafters for 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, his condition made it seem longer. I mean, I can see the decomposition on the stuff, and that's how he survived that.
Yeah,
but he was in shock the whole time. That's the only thing that makes sense. Is he went into shock seeing the Doctor die.
I mean,
because 10 days is not long enough to go feral, which is almost what he seemed like was feral.
And we don't know how long he's been without eating, because we don't know.
Well, no, I mean, 10 days. I mean, there's more than enough provisions that were refrigerated for him.
But he's in hiding. He thinks he's going to die. Everyone on the space station got slaughtered. He's in shell shock.
Yeah.
Which makes him appear more...
Which is the only thing that makes sense after 10 days, because he seems so much more feral than 10 days was just. So anyway, the doctor's like, okay, we're going to Seville. So the Doctor, Jamie, and Perry get into the TARDIS. Jamie has a bath. He looks a lot better. He's got the not the traditional kilt, but the dress kilt and everything on, and he looks great because he scrubbed his face.
He does look good. Like, he aged well too. Like, he still looks exactly like Jamie. Like, you see a little bit of like laugh lines and the smile wrinkles, but Troughton, you can really tell it's been like, a decade and more, and his hair is graying, but Jamie, he looks great, and when he cleans up, he especially looks good. Yeah, and his Scottish fatigue. Oh.
The actor is 15 years older, but when he cleans up, he still looks like he was young. He did when he was young, and so he's gone from probably 22 to like 37, I would guess. Here, The actor, Fraser Hines, is still alive, amazingly, and I hope he does appear in Doctor Who again someday, but it's the last time that we have seen him, I believe, to date.
Really? He
Yeah.
doesn't come back in any of the other specials?
I don't think he's in the 30th anniversary thing, and that'd be the only time we would see him.
Yeah. And
I don't think he is,
a
though.
lot of the times we see Jamie, it's just kind of like his face flashing by in this montage of...
Right, but this time we've got him for 3 hours, so it's great. So, anyway, they show up on Earth, near Seville, and at the exact same moment, they come out of the... they're about to come out of the TARDIS. The Oscar guy and Anita show up, and he's like, "Oh, it's a police box. How amazing." And Anita's like, "But it doesn't say Policia. This is in English. It's not in Spanish." He goes, "It's Interpol. They're everywhere." That's a great one line to write that off. Fantastic. That is a great explanation. The same, like that line to why don't we have Victoria? It's a great one line to explain it, you know?
It's so silly.
It is. He's like, "Oh, Interpol, they're everywhere." And then the Doctor and Jamie and Puri come out, and he's talking to him. He says, "Hey," because he's English, he expects a police box to have police.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Thank God the police have showed up. You must be the plainclothes division." Because they're
Like, undercover...
yeah.
You kind of get the sense of Oscar's character where he's this romantic and he kind of his head's in the cloud and that's why he doesn't have any questions about an English police box and 3 people coming out of it
But
wearing normal clothes.
if he can give away responsibility, he's going to do it. You know, she's like, "We must look for survivors." He's like, "Oh no." But
yeah, the sense of suspension of disbelief, just him making excuses to kind of explain everything within his own context
is classic.
It's a great, off character. He's
he's a fantastic character. Which makes the next episode sad.
so dark.
Yeah. Okay. So the Doctor's like, and he's like, "Well, where was this plane wreck?" "Well, I didn't see a wreck, but I saw 2 men carrying another man." He's like, "Okay, you maybe just saved us a lot of time. Great plot device. We have our MacGuffin. Hey, thank you for telling me this is where they went. Awesome." So the Doctor's like, okay, they get close to the hacienda, and it's like, "Stay here." He goes and he looks, and he sees Chesani talking to Shakai. The Doctor goes back, and he describes, "Well, wait a minute, was this old lady who lives in this house? I mean, oh no, white hair," Anita's saying. And there's like, "That's not her."
But Jamie goes, was she wearing a gray frock?
Yeah, gray frock. He's like, "Couldn't have described it better myself." Yes. He's like, "Oh, that's just saying."
On the ship, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, "Oh, okay." So they figure out more or less what's going on, and the Doctor's like, "We need to get in there. Is there a better way in?" And Anita's like, "Well, yes. My father, when he worked for them, knew about this one passage from the ice house, which is apparently a ways off where they kept the ice, and they would go underground to go get the ice because you didn't want it melting in the heat.
Underground.
Yeah, and you would keep the ice and take it underground there. It's kind of like a priest hole." And so the Doctor takes Jamie and Anita. Anita's showing the way. Jamie to help him. And Anita takes him to the ice house. He tells Perry to create a distraction. Perry's like, "Well, how do I do that?" He says, "Just figure it out."
Go knock on the door.
Yeah. And they just kind of leave Oscar sitting in the glade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what he wanted to be doing.
Right. Oscar's not getting up volunteering to go with anybody. Once again, bit of a fraidy cat. So the Doctor and Jamie go...
Catoblepus. Catoblepus?
Pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous. What's a catoblepus? Catoblepus.
Catoblepus?
Is that it? Or Cletoplepus? It's a magic card. Catoblepas during it was a common creature, just like a vanilla, black creature in the Theos set. What was that? Theros, yeah. Theros block. I don't remember which set it was. But it was just a black creature, vanilla creature called a Catoblepas or Clatoblepas, and then the whole community was like, how do you pronounce that? What even is that? And Magic's just like, we like making weird names.
No idea. No idea. Okay.
Not a...
Yeah.
I already forgot the word.
Alright. Okay, so...
Pusillanimous.
Yeah, so the doctor and Jamie head with Anita. She takes them to the ice house. And the doctor shakes her hand. She's like, can I do any more? She's like, no, you've done more than enough. Go back, take Oscar, get out of here. She's like, okay. She kisses the doctor on the cheek, as would a young lady to an old man. Just that
She appreciates
she appreciates him
looking out for her safety. It's like, you've done enough, get yourself safe. And she goes, thank you.
And so Jamie, very much, we haven't seen this much in Jamie before, but Jamie's like, oh, he goes and he shakes her hand, and he's kind of hoping for a kiss, and she hasn't given one even on the cheek, and he's like, oh, it's sweet and kind of sad, So the doctor and Jamie head through the underground passage, going to the cellar in the hacienda, because the doctor heard the echo of the cellar and the bell and all that. He says, when you've been in many dungeons I have, you know that sound. In the meantime, Perry goes to the door of the hacienda, knocks on it. Shockeye leans out of a window where he's looking. He found some clothes.
Licking his lips.
Yeah, the old Don's clothes. And he looks out and he's licking his lips, and you could almost believe it was sexual, but it's not sexual to show. He's wanting to eat her,
more
literally. Yeah,
cannibalistic.
Well, it's not cannibalistic because he's a different species.
Xenolithic.
It's just he wants to eat another. But it's an intelligent species.
Yeah.
Eating an intelligent species. You shouldn't do that. But
I would probably eat a dolphin.
Wait. You ever see that Futurama episode?
No.
Okay, so like
we're go ahead.
There's a Futurama episode where like, oh, here we go, and now this is dolphin, and Leela's like, you shouldn't eat dolphin. That's an intelligent animal. He says, oh, not this one. He spent all of his money on lottery tickets. They're like, oh, okay, we'll eat. That's great. Oh,
I haven't watched a lot of Futurama. But
I've seen all of it, and I got tired of it after a certain point.
Oh yeah.
Well,
kind of formulaic.
Well, the problem is there's the Leela and Fry. And
you always have to have that tension of, are they going to get together?
Well, yeah, but then Fry finally becomes good enough for Leela, and she loves him for the guy he becomes, because he becomes augmented, essentially. He becomes an amazing person, and she loves him for that, and he wants to make sure she loves him for him and not for whom he is augmented. So he destroys the augmentation, and then she doesn't love him anymore, and I'm like, this is stupid as hell.
It's the Ross and Rachel problem with Friends, and then you have Matt LeBlanc that played Joey in Friends explain this dilemma in this other show he did called Episodes. Have you seen that one?
No, and I've never seen hardly anything of Friends.
Oh.
But I hated the fact that the tension was there, but it never went anywhere, and I hated the fact she only loved him when he was amazing, and not when he was him, so she didn't love him for him. And then when he became him again, she stopped loving him, and I'm like, she's horrible. I don't like her character. She's a horrible person.
I mean, to be fair, Fry's not the most eligible bachelor.
No, but when
So if you have someone that all of a sudden meets your standards, you're like, oh, I'm blown away, you're impressing me. And then all of a sudden they go back to being who they were, who you weren't attracted to, you go, never mind.
But that's the problem is that she doesn't love him for him. She only loves him for what he can do.
Exactly, which is why
But no, I mean, it's you love a person, for who they are, not what they can do, you know?
I haven't seen that episode.
Okay, but I stopped. I hated it after that. I'm like, this is stupid. I watched the rest of it, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. And I traded all of my DVDs of Futurama for
The Simpsons.
For a baseball bat with spikes coming out of it. Which I have at the shop for protection.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have this big baseball bat with a steel deals on the thing with spikes coming out of it.
Huh.
Yeah. I traded my Futurama DVDs for that.
Worth it.
It was. Never used the bat, but I was never going to use the Futurama again. Huh?
Where do you keep it in the shop?
Oh, it's in the back office area.
Like a self-defense? I thought you meant as like a display item.
No. I'll
just there for the shoplifting.
Next time you come to the shop, ask me to see it. I'll show you. It's like, you know what? If somebody comes out and they want to try to rob a place with a knife, I'm going to bring out that bat and go, okay.
I feel so privileged every time I get to see the back room of the shop. I'm like, ooh, I'm special. I stuck around the corner there to play the chessboard with Shannon. I got in trouble with his brother. He's like, get out from there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sorry.
Alright, so anyway, Perry knocks on the door. Shocker's like, Perry goes in and meets Chesney, starts asking a question. She's the diversion and all that. And
how many bedrooms? I'm a traveling student. I'm an exchange student.
We're gonna send exchange students
for
here.
A villa. How many?
To be fair, she's the perfect age and
she
perfect
plays the role.
acting. Yeah, she does it really well.
Great deception. Although unfortunately, Chesney can read minds. Apparently, well, to varying success.
Human mind is a bit fatty and flabby.
Yeah, hard to pin down, but she knows she's lying.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, she's thinking of the doctor. So she knows the doctor. So let's get Troughton, the doctor,
right? So
wheel him out, even though that's not the same doctor that she knows.
Yeah. So in the meantime, quite literally, they're just about to do surgery on the second doctor. They're trying. They figured out that their machine, which they bring in, and it's just a little deal, kind of looks like the device that Troughton was getting into in the Web of Fear, which was going to take all of his knowledge and give it to the Great Intelligence.
I was thinking it looked like the pod that they put the Hartnell in when he filmed the...
a little bit like that too, or the Wonkavator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I mentioned earlier, while you were gone, how the Sixth Doctor hated the computer and wouldn't let him boss him around the same way the Second Doctor did with Wotan and the War Machine. Yeah. Anyway, so, oh my god, it's going to be a long podcast. Okay. There's so much going on in this. Okay, so they're literally have the Second Doctor chained down, and Dastari's like, yep, we figured out what's going on. We figured out that there's a nuclei in Time Lords that is genetically linked to the codes in the time machines. So and we're going to tear you apart till we find this, you know?
Is that the same thing as what they used to call the metabolism detector that detects the Time Lord metabolism and how it's biologically different, and that's how one of their safeguards?
I don't think so. It should be a separate thing, but it's probably the same style of device. The same way like a metal detector and that stupid weird thing you go in the airport and do this too are kind of similar, but not exactly. They detect different
Oh,
things.
it's not a metal. That's an X-ray thing, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because if I've got a handkerchief in my back pocket, it'll detect the handkerchief. Whereas the metal detector just detects metal.
Oh.
The ones,
Well, the X-ray.
yeah, it's more of a sonogram kind of, or not a sonogram, a sonar kind of thing, I guess.
They're like, you're clear, but you should get a breast exam.
You got some lumps there, yeah. Yeah, you got a tumor, dude. Okay. Alright. But anyway, so the second doctor is constantly arguing with Dastari, going, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, this is wrong, this is bad. Dastari's like, well, Cassini's got this plan, and we're going with this plan. So literally they're just about to start the surgery on Dastari. On the second doctor. In the meantime, Dastari is fighting with the Centaurans. Because the main Dastaran, what's his name?
Stike
is like, this has to be done now, this has to be done now, this has to be done. He's like, well, good, get out of my way and help me, and it'll be done sooner. And Stike's like, okay. Moves the stuff and helps him. Yeah, and it's there's a lot of back and forth there, and they're really contentious allies. So they're just about to start the doctor and the surgery, and they like kind of shoot things into his head to check out his brain waves, to try and isolate the deal in the cells. And that's when Perry knocks on the door, and so they stop it. And Cassini's talking to Perry. She's like, she's not telling the truth, and she keeps thinking of the doctor. So Shockeye comes up. Oh, we could eat her. She looks good. We could eat a lot of young meat, and she's like, let's check out this other thing first. So she orders Shockeye to go down, get the doctor off the operating table right before they're about to cut him up, and to wheel him out in this old-fashioned wheelchair, really old-fashioned, in front of Perry. So if she recognizes the doctor, that'll trigger the stuff in Cassini's mind, because they're like, how in the world could she know the doctor? The doctor was from way over here in this other quadrant, and how does she know the doctor? That doesn't make any sense. She's human.
Except she doesn't recognize the doctor.
Because it's the wrong doctor. She's never met the second doctor. So they wheel him out. She doesn't recognize him. She's like, is he okay? Well, yeah. He's like, I thought you said you lived alone. Oh, visitors. Yeah. Like, she's asking her, do you live alone? Yes, I do.
Except for my...
And then Shockeye comes out, except for my servants. Oh, and then these guys come out and like, oh, visitors. So, finally, Cassini's like, okay, Shockeye, will you show her around? And I think she might be especially interested in the kitchens. Perry's spider sense goes off. She's like, nope, really, nope, bad.
To my friends.
Right, and she's like, no, my friends will be looking for me. I've got to go. And she bolts. She literally bolts out of there. And Shockeye's like, oh, the animals always sense the danger, and you always have to leave them bleeding into the abattoir. And he chases after her. Just running after her.
Rough chase scene. She trips, she falls. We have this really pervy scene where he's like...
Where Shockeye is standing over her.
Yeah, she's between his legs, and he's fondling and licking his lips, and end of episode 2.
Yeah, and it literally, the doctor's also in trouble. There's a cut where the doctor, was it not the second doctor, it's the sixth doctor, where he's talking to, they finally got in through the underground, and he's talking to Jamie, and he's telling him about the...
through the priest hole.
And he's telling Jamie about how the time machine won't work without the doctor
That's
initiating it, and then the Sontaran show up. So the Doctor's in peril, and very much Perry's in peril. Right there, end of episode 2. Oh man. Alright. So I'm gonna use the restroom and get some more ice for the wine. If you would advance into episode 3, I'll be back.
Alright. So we have Perry.
Oh, my leg fell asleep.
Picks up right where it left off, where Perry's in between Shockey's legs. He has this weird line where he's like, "Oh, it's a pity she's not a Jack." Meaning,
well, come here, my pretty.
Jack and Jill. He wants her
Jack
to be
being
male and
yeah.
female. I don't know. So apparently, he wants her to be male. Maybe the male humans taste better than. It's a weird comment.
More muscle, more meat.
Okay. Good point. Still doesn't make sense. Girls are. I don't know. So, it's really dark. We just get the sense that he's only interested in food. He thinks with his stomach. He eats literally anything. It's hinted at that they cannibalize each other. They eat rats. They literally rip into stuff and eat it raw just to test the ingredients before they cook it. Really dark, really weird. So he sneaks up. He's straddling Perry. He says he wishes she was a Jack, and then she's struggling. He picks her up. Apparently these androgums. Yeah, the androgums are apparently really strong, kind of like Sontarans, just really strong. So she's fighting with them, but it doesn't really make a difference because the stage direction, it doesn't look like it takes him any effort. He kind of does the Vulcan nerve pinch, knocks her out cold, and carries her back to the villa in the kitchen. He puts her on the table. He's getting ready to flay her, and meanwhile. Let me see here. Check my notes. So meanwhile, we flash back to the Doctor and Jamie in the basement with the time traveling capsule thing and the 2 Sontarans. So the Doctor goes, "Oh, you've caught me," and you get that sense that he has something. It's all going according to his plan. You get the sense that he's faux projecting the sense of danger of, oh no, we've been caught, but really you get the sense that, he goes, this is what he's been planning on. And this is what I like about this serial is, the Colin Baker's kind of growing on me. What I like is they draw some similarities in between Troughton and Colin Baker and their doctors, and it highlights their differences but also some of their similarities, and I think that's what's really getting Colin Baker to kind of grow on me, is because they had to pull in my favorite doctor along with my apparently my least favorite doctor, Colin Baker, but he's kind of grown on me. I think he's neck and neck with Pertwee at this point. So the Sontarans say, you're the Time Lord and you hold the secrets to unlocking this time traveling stuff. So we need your DNA yada yada metabolism detector for the time machine to work. Get in it and program yourself to it. And the Doctor goes, okay, and he gets in and he travels and he travels back, and the Sontarans go, yay, we've succeeded, and we've unlocked time travel because we now have the Doctor's DNA encoded and printed on the time traveling chip. But of course, this was all, according to Colin Baker's plan, because his whole plan was to sneak in there. Doesn't matter if the bad guys were there or not. His main goal is just to get inside of that time traveling capsule so he could sabotage it. And he took out the little thing that apparently synchronizes his DNA with I don't know. He takes out the thing, which, Sontarans are apparently not that bright, because they're not at all expecting him to sabotage it. I guess they thought they had the drop on him, so they just kind of leave it up to... Anyway, so that's all happening, and we have this deadly alliance kind of falling apart between the Sontarans and the Androgums? Yeah, the Androgums and the Sontaran, uneasy alliance is starting to fall apart because we have Jacini and Astari, kind of talking among themselves saying, okay, our plans are coming to fruition, we can get rid of the Sontarans now. We have the Sontarans who are like, okay, so we've got the working time machine, we don't really need them, and it's this, ironic cut between them saying, all right, let's kill the Sontarans, and the Sontarans going like, let's kill them, we don't need them anymore. So the Sontarans' plan is to kill everyone in the villa by self-destructing their little pod that crash landed in this villa. They say, we're going to blow it up and kill everybody, and we'll just take the time capsule and travel away, meet up with our other Sontarans, and rule the galaxy from there. So the commander, Stike, tells Varel, the major Sontaran, hey, go radio in, tell them that we've succeeded, we have the working time machine, ask her for permission for us to go to use it and meet up with them, and then we'll blow up our spaceship here and kill everyone that was involved, and there'll be no witnesses. And that's the Sontaran's plan. And then we have Dastari and Jacini talking among themselves, and they're like, everything's coming to fruition, we're about to unlock everything to get everything working. And Dastari, we really get an insight into his character just being totally unhinged, and everything's finally starting to click why Troughton, who kind of knew or respected this guy, we get the sense that he met him before, is so, taken aback by how far he's degraded in terms of morality. He goes, he immediately, like we were talking about earlier, the diplomacy kind of breaks down because he gets so angry and frustrated with him. He's like, what's gotten into you? And we really get the full sense of his deprivation of character as he's talking about setting up Jacini as a god, and to rule the world.
I will set her amongst the gods.
So we're at the point where they're conspiring, and Jacini's, we find out, is the mastermind kind of behind the whole plot. She's pulling the strings. She's saying, everything's coming to fruition. We don't need the Sontarans anymore, so we're gonna do away with them.
We're gonna kill them. I saved. What was it? The acid? Cronus acid or something?
Yeah, something like that. And Starry goes, we don't have any of that. And she's like, I took the liberty of preparing 3 canisters. Yeah. So just like the Sontarans are saying, hey, we don't need these guys anymore, we're going to blow up the spaceship. In contrast, we also have the Starry and Jacini saying, hey, we don't need the
lots of double crosses.
Yeah, double cross. Yeah, so we're just getting into that point.
Have we made the second Doctor an Androgum yet?
The
second Doctor with the deal to make him an Androgum?
No. I haven't gotten quite to. That's where we're just about to.
So yeah. Startans are going to double cross Jacini and Satari.
Sontarans.
Dastari. And Shaka. And in the meantime, specifically Dastari and Jacini are going to double cross the Sontarans. In the meantime, Jacini is asking, because they stopped the one where they were going to kill the second Doctor, the operation. She says, you know what? We can figure out this stuff later, but why don't you make him a mate for me? I could use a companion, a mate. Make him a mate for me. Make him Androgum. And Dastari's like, sure, that can be done. It's just like the operations I did on you. Mm-hmm. Same general principle, just go in the other direction.
everything just starts to decline so quickly in this last
Boom,
episode,
boom,
where
boom, boom. Things are moving fast.
were dark, and then the realization of how dark they are. It's like Dastari is totally, morally bankrupt, and he's not actually in charge. It's Chestini that's in charge.
Jesse, because she
wants him to biologically engineer this
mate for her.
this concubine and turn him into a androgon.
Right. So she wants the Doctor to have Time Lord genetics so he can activate the TARDIS, the machine that they made. At the same time, she wants him to be an androgon. So
The forest is on fire.
Yeah. So she stuns Shockeye to get the pure androgon genetics.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in the same clasps of metal on his feet and arms that they have the second Doctor, and the second Doctor's still out of it, stunned. Although, did we mention he tried to challenge the Sontaran to a duel, but the Sontaran wouldn't buy it?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about how his Trouton's disposition and how he's trying to pull these different angles,
and then nobody's buying.
It's not working. Yeah, he's stuck. He's locked up. It's not. It's looking grim for Trouton.
So, so they do more or less like genetic transfusion, and they're like, okay, it's going to take 2 operations. One will give him 50% androgen genetics. The second one will stabilize him. But we have to do the second one within an hour of the first one. Because if we don't, there'll be, like a tissue rejection for an organ transplant. Mm-hmm. So they turn the second Doctor into an androgen using the genetics from Shockeye. And the second Doctor has this webbing over him, which I'm not sure why. But his eyebrows are now the big red. And he's got the little weird splotches. Yeah. And he's like, food. Why am I thinking of food? So,
and then Shockeye and him are just best friends.
At the same time, while they do that, Chessini and Dastari go out to kill the Sontarans. Mm-hmm. They end up with the weird acid bombs. Yeah. They end up getting them to go down into the hidey hole, the priest hole, and they throw down the bombs. They kill one, and they apparently, you think they kill the other, but Stike ends up surviving. Anyway, so they go back, and the Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, along with Jamie and Perry, are kind of watching all this over one of the walls to the hacienda, and they see the Doctor's like, ooh, a double cross. This is getting interesting. So the Doctor looks, and he's like, okay. So the second Doctor wakes up. Well, Shockeye wakes up, and because androgen are so strong, which is how he was able to knock out Perry and do all that. He wakes up, he breaks the metal barriers from his feet and his arms. And then he goes to the Doctor, the second Doctor, breaks out his, and the Doctor's like, oh, and he starts talking food, so much food, partridges and pressed meat of this and that and the other. And he keeps going through all this food. And Shockeye, always thinking with the stomach, is like, the food of this planet? And the judge is like, yeah, I do. And Shockeye's like, so you can take me to one of these eating places, a restaurant. He doesn't use the word. So these Doctor's like, yeah, but you have to dress properly. Shockeye's like, I know where we can get clothes, because they had mentioned the clothes earlier. Or Shockeye was looking into all the clothes of the old Dawn when Perry had showed up at the door. And I was like, great. So, in one of the strangest scenes in Doctor Who, you have Shock Guy, this Androgon, with the things on his face and the big red eyebrows, and the Doctor, as an Time Lord Androgon, with the big red eyebrows and things on his face, dressed in weird trousers, the trousers they had originally, and the weird shirts they had originally, but jackets with tails and top hats, walking down the road, heading to Seville, to go eat at one of the establishments. And it's just a very strange scene.
I don't understand hors
Yeah. So the third
digestive juices flowing.
Yeah, the third episode specifically is set in Seville, and Alyssa and I have been there. And like I said, I was walking down that one street and I went, wait a minute, this is the exact street where the scene happened in The Two Doctors. She's like,
You were
what?
there.
Yeah. And she's like, what? And then I came back and I said, remember this, took pictures. And then I showed it to her and she's like, yeah, that's that exact street with that exact wall right behind the place. I'm like, okay. But anyway, yeah, I just remembered it from memory. I was like, oh, this is it.
I like when they do those old-timey photographs and then they find it in modern day and they line up the exact perspective and take a modern photograph and they splice them together. Yeah.
I'm not as big with the ones of the people. Like here's the four boys when they were boys, and here's the four men in the same bathing suits or whatever. I'm not as big a fan of that.
That's just
swimming trunks or whatever. But I do like the ones of the places.
Yeah. I feel like the ones with people in them are more for the family members.
Correct, but I've seen it done so many times. Yeah.
It'd be funnier if it's your own family, but
agreed.
Yeah, if it's not, you don't care.
Anyway, so the second Doctor and Shock Guy are going down the road, and the sixth Doctor, Perry and Jamie, see them doing that. At the same time, so they see them doing that, and they're going down the road, following them, and the sixth Doctor's like, oh, they're going to Seville for restaurants, for food. So then, the Sontarans are basically killed. Mm-hmm. The last one, Psyche, goes to his own ship and destroys it, self-destructs it. So Dastari and Chasani are like, we should follow them. They're going into town. He's an Androgon, so they're probably going to the restaurants. Mm-hmm. So the second Doctor, Androgony, and Shock Guy hail down a lorry, a truck.
Yeah.
Kill the poor driver.
Yeah.
And then they drive that into town, into Seville. And they're heading towards a restaurant. In the meantime, the sixth Doctor, Jamie and Perry, are running after them.
They run up on the dead guy. They say, "Oh, that's not like Trouton."
It's not like the same.
Watch
someone be killed. They don't realize he's Androgon quite yet. But they're chasing him into town. Eventually, the second Doctor and Shock Guy get there by the truck that they killed the driver and stole. The sixth Doctor, Perry and Jamie, get there by running / walking. And Chasani and Dastari get there in a carriage, a horse-drawn carriage.
Mm-hmm. But they show up in class.
Yeah, they show up in class. So they show Chasani and Dastari wandering around Seville, and it's beautiful. I've been in many of the streets that they have in and on Seville. Mm-hmm. Show them searching for the second Doctor, and Shock Guy in the restaurants. And then the sixth Doctor spies them and goes, they're looking in the restaurants. I should have thought of that. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he's kind of turning into an Androgon, going, oh, kitty, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. ooh, the cat would taste great. Oh, no. You know, giving it androgen, and Barry's like, stop that. That's not you.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Because they only think with their stomach. Anything is food to them.
No, it doesn't make sense that Colin Baker would be having these androgen urges in the current tense, whereas his predecessor, Troughton, the doctor, was currently 50% androgen, but then
the only
rejected back.
I agree with you. The only thing I can use to try and justify that is their proximity in both space and time.
So it's
they were at the same time,
neural
close in space, so the telepathy was kind of making it more effective.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I can give.
Yeah, I like that.
So the second Doctor, androgenized, and Shockeye wander into the specific restaurant
with Oscar.
That Oscar happens to be managing for his friend, with Anita as the
stewardess.
Hostess? The what's the person at the front?
Hostess.
Yeah, the hostess.
Yeah.
There used to be a different name for that.
No.
Maitre d'.
Oh.
The maitre d'. And with Oscar as the manager, they wander in and they're like, we want food. And Shaka's like, do you serve humans here? And Oscar's like, yes. Like most of the time I do serve humans.
He's just so accommodating and he's not saying anything that makes sense, but he's just, you know.
Yeah.
He's very understanding.
No, I mean as meat. No, that nouvelle cuisine has not yet penetrated this restaurant, this establishment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's a kind of a good way to get around that, but damn.
Yeah,
you think human cannibalistic flesh is nouvelle cuisine, you know?
It reminds me of this funny video that went around on the internet that these salespeople, they go over their same pitches and it's kind of just muscle memory. They go over the same spiel. So this one guy asked this saleswoman this really weird, dark question, and then she just automatically kind of answered it because it's just, So she's a car saleswoman, and she's selling him a car, and she's like, he asked her, about how many bodies can I fit in the trunk? And she goes, oh, at least 4. Yeah. That's kind of Oscar as the he's just being very accommodating and answering these questions and not really thinking too much about it, apparently.
Apparently androgens can eat. They have enough food. They end up eating enough food for like 24 people. Like this long list of food. And in the meantime, and so Anita's like, they need to start paying the bill. It's 18,600 pesetas. This is back before euros. This was the Spanish money at the time, and it was a lot of money. We're talking like a $500-600 dinner bill, you know.
For back then, or adjusting for inflation?
More or less now.
No.
Maybe
adjusted for inflation.
Maybe even more. Yeah,
600.
Yeah, I'm just approximating based on my remembrance of pesetas from back in the day.
They had like half a dozen bottles of wine.
Well, then I had a dozen bottles of wine. Yeah, 8 steaks, like all this insane amounts of food.
4
pesetas, yeah. Paellas, yeah. But all this food. So finally, Oscar goes over and says, "Sir, here's the bill," and Shaka's like, "What is this? Do you understand this?" And he gives it to the doctor. The second doctor. The second doctor's like, "Oh, they want money. They're asking to be paid." And Shaka's like, he gives a note. It's 20 somethings. That's,
Space bucks.
Space bucks, yeah. 20 somethings in the 9 planets, and I was just like, Sir, we can't take this. If you don't have cash, we can use a credit card. Finally, he goes away. Then Oscar comes back, and the doctor's kind of like asleep, food coma. And the guy asks Shockeye, says, look, if you don't have cash, we'll take credit card. And Shockeye gets up and says, I will answer you with this. And he holds out a knife. And it's a decent-sized knife.
Literally just, like a cooking knife.
A cooking knife.
He just stabs.
Right, he goes up to Oscar and stabs him. Yeah. And Oscar falls into a seat nearby while Shockeye just leaves. Mm-hmm. The second doctor is still being like, food coma.
Wanders off.
Yeah.
And Oscar's like, I've heard of rowdy guests, but
usually just don't leave a tip. Yeah.
And you think he's being melodramatic in Anita
because he's an actor.
Yeah, he's being very, very melodramatic, and Anita's cooing over him and goes, oh, you poor thing, and you go, oh, he's not gonna die. It's a little stab. He's not bleeding to death. But then he actually dies.
The Sixth Doctor comes in with Jamie and Perry, and the Sixth Doctor says, and he goes, officer, always so prompt.
Yeah.
Good time. And the doctor says, well, let me take a look at that. The doctor looks at it, and the doctor kind of takes a step back. And you're like, the Sixth Doctor. And you're like, oh, crap. It's a little more serious. And he says, oh, nobody will ever get to see my Hamlet, my definitive Hamlet. And then he quotes a little bit from Hamlet. And then he looks at Anita, kind of like he's going blind. He says, Anita. She goes, yes. He says, take care of my beautiful moths. And he just dies. Eyes open. His eyes don't close.
No one closes his eyes.
Yeah, no one closes his eyes.
The whole scene, he just has to sit there.
Yeah, he just dies.
With his eyeballs dried out.
And the doctor, the Sixth Doctor, Perry, Jamie, and Anita are all sitting, there looking at him. And it's like, oh my God. And then Jamie's like, Doctor, look. And the Sixth Doctor looks at the Second Doctor, who is kind of, food combed on the table. Yeah. And
it's been about an hour.
Yeah, the androgen stuff is going away. The little not quite boils and the red eyebrows. His genetics have rejected the androgen genetics.
So he's back to
just
being a full
straight time lord.
And he's very, very full.
He's like,
Shockeye wandering around going, I'm still hungry. That's just a snack. And then you have the doctor going, oh no.
So the doctor continues to pretend to be a policeman. Mm-hmm. He arrests the Second Doctor, pulls him out of that place, so they don't have to pay the bill when the poor Oscar's dead in the corner, Anita weeping over him.
They later closed the restaurant due to bankruptcy.
Jamie leaves with the Sixth Doctor, helping the Second Doctor out. Mm-hmm. Perry looks at Anita, kind of puts her hand on her shoulder, and kind of gives the eyeball of my condolences, and then she leaves. Mm-hmm. And then outside, while the two doctors, Jamie and Perry, are deciding which way to go, they get caught by Chesney, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Chesney.
They get caught by Chesney and
held a hot glue gun point.
And the star, yeah.
And the star.
By what looks like a glue gun.
And then march back to the villa.
They get marched back to the villa. They go back to the villa. The two doctors and Perry get chained up, while the Shockeye still wants to eat a human. So Chesney tells him,
Jamie, the youngest of the Jacks.
Take take the one in the skirt, the youngest of the Jacks. So Shockeye takes Jamie, kind of knocks him out, ties him down, both arms and his legs, and he's just about to cut into Jamie the same way he was just about to cut into Perry earlier. Mm-hmm. And he was just about to do that to Perry when he was sent off to look for, to take the Doctor down from below, the second Doctor, to wheel him in front of Perry. In this case, he's about to cut into Jamie, and while they're downstairs in the cellar, the sixth Doctor manages to escape from his bonds because Dastari left the keys on an old sewing table, and with the help of Perry and the second Doctor...
Why would he do that? Just for cruelty's sake?
It's one of those villain tropes. Let me show you how to get away, and it'll help enable your escape. It's a villain trope.
Absolutely. Dastari is very much a Bond villain, double-cross trope, and it's just, it makes no sense. He's like, I've tied you up, and he could have just left with the key, and instead he drops the key on the table in front of him.
He's being cruel.
Like,
he thinks he's being cruel.
Yeah.
But Dastari has a nice redemption arc right before the end. Yeah. So, anyway, the second Doctor gets away, the sixth Doctor gets away. He's about to unleash the second Doctor, and then they hear Jamie crying from upstairs, screaming. And the second Doctor's like, go get Jamie. And the sixth Doctor runs off. Sixth Doctor goes, keys! Throws the keys back. Sixth Doctor goes upstairs. And Jamie's bound on that table. And he's being tenderized with a tenderizer. Okay, we'll talk about this at the end. But there's so much don't eat meat animal cruelty in this serial.
Yeah, like with their resolution to be vegetarian.
Right. And with the tenderizing of Jamie, they don't feel pain the same way we do, sir.
Yeah.
All that stuff, yeah. There's a lot of that in this serial. The show's always been kind of leftist. It just didn't go full woke, stupid-ass leftist till recently. But it's like the Green Death and other scenarios. It's always had a leftist message.
Throwing Hartnell under the bus for sexism.
Yeah, it's just annoying in many ways. But yeah, it's gotten a lot worse very recently, but it's always had a bit of that bent.
That undertone.
But to be fair, that was the BBC back in the day and now. Yeah. And that's the people in media that are now. But this is one of those, not quite beating you over the head, and it's not going to ruin the story, but it's obviously there. So tenderizing Jamie, and then Chasani goes downstairs, notices he's gone, and she demands Dastari go kill the sixth Doctor. He's like, no, if we kill this Time Lord, the Time Lords will come at us with everything. He'll undo everything we've done. She's like, do it. And you see the power play, and you see who's really in charge here if you've not seen it previously. So he goes out, she goes out, and she tells Shockeye. Shockey's like, oh, we can kill him and have him for dinner. And she's like, no, go find this Doctor and kill him. He leaves.
The room.
Yeah, the sixth Doctor shows up, and the sixth Doctor's like freeing Jamie with a knife on his bonds, and then Shockeye comes and is like, oh, I thought you'd come back to save him. And they get in a fight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Shockeye wounds the Doctor, puts a cut on his left thigh.
Enough to where he's limping.
Yeah, he's limping. The sixth Doctor did not quite get Jamie free, and Jamie's unconscious. And the sixth Doctor runs out, and Shockeye follows him. And then Shockeye in the courtyard runs into Chasani and Dastari, and Chasani's like, the Doctor's getting away, and he's like, but I wounded him. Look, and he points with his knife down the ground.
Blood.
Yeah. Now there's no blood on the knife because that would have been
too graphic.
Yeah, too graphic. But there's blood on the ground. Raspberry jam or something. Anyway, blood on the ground, and he's like, and she's like, good, follow the trail of blood, go kill him. He's like, with pleasure. And Shockeye heads out. Now there's a pivotal scene here. where Jaseni's looking at the blood on the ground, and she's fighting with herself, with her baser nature, the Androgum, and she falls to her knees, basically prostrate on the ground. She takes her hand and dips it in the blood and licks blood off her hand. And Dastari is behind her in the courtyard, looking at her disgustingly, realizing he's made the mistake, because it's exactly as the doctor said, that her baser, the Androgum nature, will always come through, and she will only have the ability to do evil because she does not empathize with other beings, even intelligent ones.
One of the most striking and pivotal points in the whole serial, because it kind of summarizes all these different undertones of Dastari and this weird bastardized fathership he has over Jaseni, and the fact that it's muddled with this fathership, but also that it's not like his child, but rather it's this creation of his, that he took this one thing and made it into the complete opposite. And this is the culmination of that, where we see the fact that he is wrong and the doctor was right, and her evil nature does come out, and she has
her base nature.
And Dastari realizing that, but also the fact that it's just too late and everything's too far gone at this point, and he's already committed to this whole, it's a very striking moment. It's very artistic with the blood and the
licking it.
Yeah, striking. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah. Once again,
good series.
Wonderful series.
Oh,
so she tells him to go kill the rest of the prisoners, i.e. at this point, since Jamie woke up and got away, the doctor's being chased down by Shockeye, is basically the second doctor and Perry, and he heads downstairs right after the second doctor and Perry with the keys manage to get loose, and he's like, she ordered me to kill you. But he doesn't fire his gun at them immediately. In the meantime, the sixth doctor is running through the woods, the glades, being chased by Shockeye. He runs into the stuff that was left there by Oscar and Anita when they were originally in the glade.
You'll remember the butterfly net and the lantern and all the innocent items, and then the cyanide.
So the doctor takes a cyanide, puts it on some cotton cloth that's inside of that, pours water over it, which I guess helps activate it. He waits for Shockeye to come in. The doctor's hiding behind a tree. The doctor takes the net, throws it over Shockeye's head, and then puts the cyanide, the cloth with the liquid cyanide, up to his mouth. So he's breathing in the cyanide and dying. Does it smell like chloroform to you? Yeah. But it's cyanide. It's not passing him out. It's killing him. Yeah.
There's no point to the butterfly net. That wasn't a...
I think it was to hold his head.
I mean, the hand over the mouth.
Androgums are too strong. This would at least
it's
hold
a butterfly
a
net.
little better. But the cyanide is the main thing. The cyanide is the main thing. But yeah, so the sixth doctor kills Shockeye in self-defense, but kills Shockeye. Well, I mean, he'd already wounded him and was coming after him to kill him. Kills Shockeye in self-defense. So we cut back to the
Troughton.
To the Havenier. Not Havenier.
Villa?
The villa, there's the other word, but anyway. We cut back to it, and Troughton and Perry, Troughton's like, that's the guy I know. You get the feeling there was a scene in there that was cut that was him explaining, yeah, I can't do this. She's crazy, and she's just going to be evil with her own innate racial problems and speciesist problems and all this stuff. And so we need to stop this. You get the feeling that was a little cut out, but it was summarized. I was like, that's the Dastari I know. And right then, She comes down the stairs, threatens all of them, ends up shooting and killing Dastari.
Yeah.
So she's the only.
Just desserts all around.
Yeah, that's what the doctor says
after
to
killing Shock Eye.
Shock Eyes, or just desserts. The sixth doctor. So she kills him, and then Jamie shows up. She's just about to shoot the doctor and Perry. Jamie throws his knife, knocks her gun out of her hand. She runs into the time capsule to escape.
Yeah.
And the doctor had sabotaged it. I think we may have skipped over that earlier. He sabotaged
We talked about that when you're... Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He took out the console, but then we talked about sort of this underlying... This is all part of his master plan, because at this point, he just hands it over to her. He goes, here you go, this is what you're looking for. I took it.
Yeah.
You know, just spare my companions. And you go, this is a part of his plan, because he's kind of saying it that with that specific inflection of, you know, he's just wholeheartedly handing it over, like, here you go. And later he describes it as, he took it because it had his genetic code in it to operate the time traveling machine, but he took it and he sabotaged it to where, but
it would work
having
once,
sabotaged it,
once.
you left the thin membrane of his DNA inside the contraption so that it would work once, because he knew that she would want to test it because she wouldn't trust him. So it's this whole, you know, all these different events kind of come together and going, oh, this was all a part of his plan. Like, he did this and that and that and that. So and then he hands it over to her. It worked. She gets in it to travel away, and blows up. It
blows up. She dies. Just really, really dies. So at that point, you have the sixth doctor shows up.
Everyone's dead.
Everyone, once again,
except for the doctor's companions.
Except for the two doctors and the two companions, Jamie and Perry, and Anita.
And that's it.
Anita. Every other single character in the entire serial is dead. All the Centaurans, all the scientists, every other person we meet, Oscar's weird demise.
It's really not necessary, but they just killed him off right at the end.
Right, but it's above the watershed, so we can just family show, kill everybody.
That much dark.
Yeah, it's just dark. So the second doctor calls his TARDIS with a remote control, like we talked about at the beginning, takes off with Jamie, and then Perry and the sixth doctor leave.
But if that's your TARDIS, how can it be here at the same time?
Well, it's not here. It's at least 5 minutes walk away. Yeah. And that's the end of the third episode. Right.
Well, after they talk about being vegetarian.
Yeah, because you're going to be vegetarian from now on, because damn it, meat is bad, because look at all the cruelty and all the meat and all the stuff.
And how?
Yeah, screw that. I'm still eating meat. All right. What do you have for questions?
Let's go through the rundown. We talk about Troughton with Jamie's back, the transition to color. Why did they choose Troughton as the second doctor? Fan service kind of talked about bringing Jamie back and all that.
Yeah. And it was the last chance they had.
My theory that it's the two doctors and they brought back Doctor Two.
Yeah. And that's tenuous.
So, androgons refer to humans as
Tellurians.
Tellurians. Why do they call humans Tellurians?
Because they're from Earth.
In Telos.
Okay. No, another.
Is it Latin or something? What is that?
No. Okay, so Earth, the Earth, is referred to sometimes. What's the word? Terra.
Terra. Uh-huh.
Terra. And Tellurian, I don't know how, but comes from that.
Oh, okay.
So
Tellurians is just another word for
Earth
people
things.
of Terra. Yeah.
Yeah, people of Terra are Earth things.
We talked about the sort of attitude shift in Perry, where she's kind of over it, kind of like Tegan is just done.
And she calls the doctor an asshole.
Yeah. But then she kind of runs it the corner by the end of the episode. She kind of seems oddly enough more like herself again, kind of like.
Well, the
She's
doctor
glad that-
saved her several
Right,
times,
over.
and
Put
she's
her life in danger
she's being a
several
little
times.
a bunch more gratitude. She has a lot more gratitude about it.
Why is it that the doctor's so bad at hearing? Because where we have this trope, companions always hear something, like they hear the danger, but the doctor, and here's the trope, is that it's not that his hearing is bad, it's just that he's always too involved in his own world.
Yep, and he's talking the whole friggin' time, yeah.
So his hearing's not bad, it's just that he's kind of in his own world.
And talking, he's myopic,
Yeah.
focused, yeah.
And he never takes those blinders off. He just never...
Well, until he has to.
At some point, it's just... I feel like everyone wants the doctor to have just some sort of, retrospectiveness. Just be a little introspective. Because it's not changing at all. We kind of get in this formulaic tropes of the doctor, and it feels like his character isn't progressing. It's just he regenerates, and then it's back to square one, where his character's not growing, and it's just going through the same tropes.
There's some truth to that, but each regeneration of the Doctor is different.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sixth Doctor is especially bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it comes and it goes and it fluctuates, and people are like that in their lives. Sometimes they're one way, and sometimes they're another, and sometimes they go back to the way they were.
And I feel that's exacerbated by, especially this...
Exacerbated.
Yeah.
You said exasperated. Exacerbated.
Exacerbated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made worse by.
So this was made worse by the fact that just in general the budget and the BBC and the show writers they weren't interested in kind of prolonging the series, developing that character.
Right. At this point, they were trying to kill off
the
the show. Yeah.
Kill off the show. Okay.
Yeah. So they wanted this season to be the last season, but the fans, as I was telling you in the living
Not
room,
like that.
the fans screamed back and said no. And occasionally shows can be revived by the fans if they make enough fuss. Jericho, Family Guy, Jericho, and Doctor Who are three good examples of that. Jericho was a show.
Firefly. Oh wait.
No. Jericho is a great show about the world after several nuclear bombs destroyed much of the U.S. About place Jericho, Kansas, trying to survive, and
Really popular, was it?
well, it was reasonably popular, but it was a great show. But the first season ended with the main guy being
Like
asked to
cliffhanger.
surrender, and he says nuts, which is what happened in World War II in the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Bulge was happening, the Germans were advancing, and this general was holed up in this one town. It was being sieged, and they told him to surrender. He said nuts.
Nuts.
Yeah, so he didn't surrender. He held that town while the Bulge went around him. So that happened in Jericho, and the show was canceled because the ratings weren't high enough. So there was a campaign, and all these people sent bags and bags and bags of nuts to NBC or CBS or whomever it was, and they were inundated with nuts. And so they brought back the show for a second season.
Inundated.
Yeah, inundated. So they brought back the show for a second season, but it was the writer's strike season. So it was shortened, truncated, but at least it had that second season, and writers was being cut off. They kind of had a resolution.
Yeah.
But so that was nice. But that was one of the times where the fans really made it continue and happen again.
Well, that's fun.
Same thing for Family Guy because the sales of the DVDs were so high. And in this case, Doctor Who, because there was just so much outcry for it,
Yeah, it's so synonymous with British culture, and the Daleks is just a hit. And then it's just so mind-boggling why they just kept trying to kill this show when it just had such.
There was one guy there was one guy specifically, I don't remember his name, but who just thought Doctor Who was an embarrassment, and he just went out of his way to kill it.
Because the big bug-eyed monsters, right? That's why they brought it on as more of a educational children's show, historical, and then it evolved into the sci-fi bug-eyed monster so that they didn't want it to
eventually in 89 he was able to kill it, but eventually got brought back in 96 and then again in 2005.
Good thing.
Yeah, great thing.
At some point the Doctor talks about shutting off his respiratory system. I have a theory about that. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
We won't talk about it again. The Rutons are mentioned, but they never show up. But they're talked about.
We've only seen them the one time in the Horror of Fang Rock.
We did.
With Leela. It's the only time. We've seen the Sontarans so many times. We've only seen the Rutons the once, and they have yet to appear again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so we don't see them again.
No, we have not seen the Rutons ever again till this day.
We hardly saw them in Fang Rock. Like they were more.
Yeah, it was like that one jellyfish critter or whatever.
But the whole time they're sneaking around the whole serial.
Yeah.
We talked about the collapse of the universe.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. This is a theory that hadn't pan out. We talked about Perry calling the Doctor an arsehole.
That was great. I love it.
We also talked about why Shockeye says it was a pity that Perry was not a Jack. And he said because
men have more muscle mass, more meat. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know that. I thought it wasn't the muscly meat that you wanted. It's the more fatty.
Well, no. I mean, when you have a steak, do you want the meat or do you want the fat?
The meat. But is the meat the muscle?
Yeah, the muscle's going to be the meat.
Yeah.
The fat's the fat.
Yeah. Okay. So I did have this one question of why the Doctor didn't just run with the time machine when he was there alone with the time machine, and the time machine would only work with the Doctor. It's like, well, you could just get in the time machine and then.
But it was it was programmed by the Sontaran.
Yeah, and it also wasn't a part of his whole master plan of doing the.
Correct. He had a plan.
So it seemed kind of counterintuitive when he was there alone with the TARDIS. Or the time traveling machine, and the time traveling machine only works with Time Lords. It's like, well, just take it. And
but he'd be leaving behind Perry and Amy and the other Doctor.
Well, it's a time machine, so he wouldn't be leaving anyone behind.
He
would be meeting them before they got timey-wimey would leave. There's a lot of that, like, what would happen if in the past and affect me in the future, but it didn't.
Right, that's the whole weird Androgam stuff.
Yeah. Do we ever see the Androgams again?
No.
Never.
Not yet.
Not yet. But we do see the Sontarans again.
Yes, of course.
We talked about why Dastari left the key. And we talked about the TARDIS remote control. And vegetarian diets. And that's it. That's all the questions. Pretty straightforward.
Alright. We're running out of battery.
All right, blinking at us.
So next week, Time Lash, or next Monday, Time Lash, 2 episodes, and that'll be fun. We will see you then. Thank you for joining us.
Bye. See you next Monday.
Oh my gosh.
Time Lash.
We rarely run out of battery.
Monday after that. Oh, did it just power off? Oh no,
It's getting there.
Just step back.